What if I told you that there is a sword that is older than the pyramids of Egypt and still looks brand new? A sword that was found in a mysterious grave with 3 people who died in a mysterious way. A sword that reveals a hidden story about the ancient world. We are going to show you everything you need to know about this amazing sword and its time. So buckle up, because we're going on a mind-blowing adventure through history. This sword was found by a team of archaeologists who were excavating a burial site in a small town in southern Germany called Nördlingen. The burial site dates back to the late 14th century BC. Its gleaming blade, perfectly honed and remarkably preserved, showcases the remarkable metallurgical expertise employed in its creation. The intricate details and meticulous design demonstrate the deep understanding of swordsmithing possessed by the ancient artisans who carefully shaped and forged this magnificent weapon. The burial site contained 3 graves, one of a man, one of a woman, and one of a child. They were buried in quick succession, but it is not clear if they were related or not. They were buried with other bronze objects, such as bracelets, rings, pins, and knives. But the most remarkable object was the sword. The sword was placed next to the man's body, as if he was its owner. The sword was a rare and valuable object that only skilled smiths could make and only powerful people could own. The sword was made of bronze, an alloy of copper and tin. Bronze was a stronger and more durable metal than copper. It enabled the creation of more complex and varied objects, such as weapons, armor, or vessels. The tin for making bronze came from faraway regions, such as Cornwall in Britain or Bohemia in Czech Republic. This involved long-distance trade networks that connected different regions of Europe and beyond. The sword was made using a technique called overlay casting. The handle, which has 2 rivets, was cast over the blade. The handle has an octagonal shape, which gives the sword its name, an octagonal sword. Octagonal swords were rare in Germany. They were mostly found in northern Germany and Denmark, where they were produced by local smiths. They were also imported from other regions, such as Britain or France. The sword was a magnificent weapon that could slay any foe with one swift blow. This marvel was not the creation of mere mortals, but of masterful artisans who poured their passion and skill into every inch of its gleaming blade. The sword was a symbol of honor, courage, and justice, and a source of awe and admiration for all who beheld it. The sword unearthed in Nördlingen is an exceptional testament to its remarkable preservation after 3,000 years. Its pristine condition and radiant shine make it one of the finest preserved octagonal swords ever found. But how did this sword survive for so long without being damaged or corroded? What kind of environment and conditions preserved it so well? To unravel the mystery of the sword, the archaeologists conducted various tests and analyses on it. They learned that it had been preserved by a layer of clay that isolated it from the elements. The soil around it was also acidic, which inhibited oxidation. But the sword's secrets were not only in its metal. The archaeologists were also interested in its origin and history. How did it end up in Nördlingen? Where was it forged? Who was the man who wielded it? What was his story and his connection to the woman and the child who shared his grave? Archaeologists decided to examine the sword's metal composition. They took samples and ran them through chemical analysis. They were surprised by the results. The sword's copper came from different places, some from the south or east of Germany, some from the north or west, some from across the sea. The sword was a product of trade and exchange, a testament to the mobility and diversity of the people who lived in the early Middle Ages. This means that the sword was either made by mixing different types of copper or by reusing old bronze objects from different regions. This also means that the sword's owner had access to trade networks that spanned across Europe and beyond. The sword was not the only clue to the past. The human remains also revealed some secrets. Their DNA showed that they had diverse genetic backgrounds, some from Central Europe, some from Northern Europe, some from Southern Europe. They were either newcomers or descendants of newcomers from different regions. They lived in a society that was multicultural and diverse. Their bones and teeth also told some stories. The man had a healed fracture on his left arm, possibly from a fall or a fight. The woman had a tooth abscess, possibly from an infection or a cavity. They had faced some hardships and injuries during their lives. They had also received some medical care or healing practices. Their cause of death, however, remained a mystery. Their bones and teeth showed no signs of violence or illness. Their tissues and hair showed no traces of poison or drugs. They did not die by homicide, suicide, or accident. They did not die by natural causes or diseases. The mystery baffled the researchers. How did these three people die? Why were they buried in quick succession? What was their relationship to each other? The researchers could not provide a definitive answer to these questions. They could only make educated guesses based on the evidence. One possible scenario is they could have died by a sudden and unexpected event that took their lives in a matter of seconds or minutes. Perhaps they worked hard in a fire that engulfed their house or their village, or they could have died by a deliberate ritual act that involved their consent or coercion. Perhaps they made a suicide pact to escape a fate worse than death. The sword and the burial still conceal many secrets that the archaeologists are eager to uncover. This is the story of the octagonal sword, a masterpiece that is more than 3,000 years old and still shines like new. This sword tells us a fascinating story about the Great Bronze Age. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new and interesting. Thanks for watching and welcome back In and Out Covered.